Luo Feng, Allure, and Ice Mountain were wearing similar outfits, battle uniform sets on the outside and Black God sets on the inside. Allure and Ice Mountain both had an extra golden mask on. Luo Feng put on his battle uniform set, etc. in the autojet after watching Hong's battle with the Grand Emperor monster. The three of them flew above the sky side by side. "We'll split up and search," said Royal Guard Allure. "Okay." Ice Mountain's voice was as cold as usual. "All right." Luo Feng nodded. The radius of this misty lake was over 100 km, which meant its area was huge. Furthermore, the place where the Grand Emperor was staying was 3,500 meters below ground, while the lake itself is only 300 meters deep. So maybe the treasure is below the dirt of the bottom of the lake in some rocky layer underground. The search will be quite hard. Luo Feng also agreed that splitting up was the right course of action, compared to the larger layers of rock underground. "I'll first check out this smaller lake." Luo Feng couldn't help but to glance at the distance and saw an image charge into the lake a few thousand meters away. This was clearly another representative level fighter. The appeal of the treasures in the misty lake are indeed big. Putong. Water splashed everywhere as Luo Feng directly charged into the lake. With his battle uniform set on the outside and his Black God set on the inside, he stepped on his soaring shuttle and had 18 blade pieces circling around him, ready to attack at any time. Luo Feng, Allure, and Ice Mountain were wearing similar outfits, battle uniform sets on the outside and Black God sets on the inside. Allure and Ice Mountain both had an extra golden mask on. Luo Feng put on his battle uniform set, etc. in the autojet after watching Hong's battle with the Grand Emperor monster. The three of them flew above the sky side by side. "We'll split up and search," said Royal Guard Allure. "Okay." Ice Mountain's voice was as cold as usual. "All right." Luo Feng nodded. The radius of this misty lake was over 100 km, which meant its area was huge. Furthermore, the place where the Grand Emperor was staying was 3,500 meters below ground, while the lake itself is only 300 meters deep. So maybe the treasure is below the dirt of the bottom of the lake in some rocky layer underground. The search will be quite hard. Luo Feng also agreed that splitting up was the right course of action, compared to the larger layers of rock underground. "I'll first check out this smaller lake." Luo Feng couldn't help but to glance at the distance and saw an image charge into the lake a few thousand meters away. This was clearly another representative level fighter. The appeal of the treasures in the misty lake are indeed big. Putong. Water splashed everywhere as Luo Feng directly charged into the lake. With his battle uniform set on the outside and his Black God set on the inside, he stepped on his soaring shuttle and had 18 blade pieces circling around him, ready to attack at any time. Luo Feng was completely armed. "Treasure. I don't even know what treasure it is, so how am I supposed to find it?" Luo Feng was in a bind. As of now, the various powers weren't even sure what the treasure was and how many of them there were. Everyone could only search like blind people. "Good thing I'm a spirit reader. I'll spread my spiritual force within a 200-meter radius and search." Luo Feng was completely armed. "Treasure. I don't even know what treasure it is, so how am I supposed to find it?" Luo Feng was in a bind. As of now, the various powers weren't even sure what the treasure was and how many of them there were. Everyone could only search like blind people. "Good thing I'm a spirit reader. I'll spread my spiritual force within a 200-meter radius and search." The scanning from his spiritual force was more effective than radar. Just like this, Luo Feng started a bloody treasure hunt. Back when he came to this misty lake last time, he almost lost his life. And this time, those so-called high-level horde leader-level monsters were easily killed by Luo Feng's blade pieces. Extremely easily. After using up 32 minutes, Luo Feng scanned over 80% of the lake with his surprising speed. On the way, he killed over 1,000 monsters and 13 horde leader monsters. Luo Feng used his spiritual force to collect the materials of 2 high-level horde leader-level monsters into the backpack formed by the Black God set. "Star Traveler level spirit readers sure make money easily on Earth," thought Luo Feng to himself after collecting the materials from 2 monsters and giving up the rest. Luo Feng, any discoveries in the lake? A sound carried from the tactical communications watch, which was Allure's voice. "I have already scanned over 36% of the lake." "Nothing," said Luo Feng quietly. "I scanned over 80% of the area." In terms of searching abilities, Star Traveler level fighters are definitely better than War Gods, because even Star Traveler level fighters can release their genetic energy outside of their bodies. For example, the flames surrounding Representative Far's body. For example, Lan ran back in Jiangnan headquarters city caused the surrounding temperature to drop dramatically and the water fountain to freeze when he stopped Luo Feng from killing Li Yao. Star Traveler level fighters can control the energy in a certain radius and search for treasures like that. Of course, Star Traveler spirit readers are even better at searching. After that are the Star Traveler level fighters, and after that are the War God level spirit readers. Lastly are the War God level fighters. War God level fighters can only sadly use their 2 eyes to search, which is extremely inefficient. You scanned 80%, I scanned 36%, Ice Mountain scanned 41%, and none of us found anything. In total, we probably scanned over 95% of the lake. "I think we should go underground," messaged Allure. "I agree," replied Luo Feng. Whoosh! At the same time, the 3 powerful Star Traveler level fighters Allure, Ice Mountain, and Luo Feng broke out the surface of the water and flew into the air. After that, they flew towards the Misty Island ruins in the center of the lake. Putong, Putong. Luo Feng saw in the distance War God after War God leap into the lake from fighter jets. Even War Gods have come to search for treasures. Really? Luo Feng shook his head. Good thing they aren't dumb and are just searching among the island and dirt. If a War God encounters a horde leader in the lake, he's basically not taking his own life seriously. The lake area where those War Gods leaped into was still part of the island in the center not too long ago. However, the huge battle shaved the sides off the island a bit, so the rest of the island is underwater. Those portions cannot be seen with the naked eye. Those War Gods that leaped into the water can swiftly dig into the dirt, and then search for treasures in the dirt and rocks. Monsters are rare in the rocky layer, and even if they do appear, they are usually quite weak. The dirt and rock layer underground has an even greater area than the lake, and searching there is harder than in water, said Allure coldly. Same old way. We split up. I'll go ahead first. Luo Feng charged into the lake right away and after just a few meters deep, drilled into the dirt and rock below. His head was above and his feet were below as his 2 feet automatically extended into a drill. He easily pierced through the dirt and rock and drilled downwards. Underground. Everything was dark. Searching for treasures underground is probably difficult for others. Luo Feng's spiritual force spread out. He didn't know what the shape of the treasure he was looking for was. Is it a plant, an ore, or is it life, or an archaeological ruin? Because he doesn't know and has no target. It took him a long time to search. 3 hours later, 2,000 to 3,000 meters below ground, an underground river was raging. With a pong, Luo Feng smashed through the rocks and fell into the dark river. It's here. I consumed the 1,000-year willow heart beside this river back then. How nostalgic. I'll dig a hole and rest here too. Luo Feng easily dug out a hole a bit above the dark river and sat cross-legged as he closed his eyes. Even if he had plenty of spiritual force, his mind was quite tired after searching for 3 hours non-stop with his spiritual force searching the surrounding 200-meter radius with him at the center. What smell is that? Luo Feng, who was resting as he sat cross-legged, suddenly sniffed with his nose. A light scent slightly carried into his nose. The scent of rice? Luo Feng furiously opened his eyes. Treasure. It could be treasure. It is quite peculiar to smell rice 2,000 to 3,000 meters below the ground, and weird things could probably lead to the treasure of the Misty Island. Luo Feng sniffed with his nose and leaped into the dark river like a fish. At times, he would come out the river to sniff with his nose. It's this direction. The smell is carrying from this direction. Once he confirmed the direction, Luo Feng immediately headed towards that direction as he swam along the dark river. As he got closer, the scent of rice became easier and easier to smell. Rumble Luo Feng went along this dark river and appeared in an even wider river, as if the dark river from before was merely a branch of this wider river. There are sea monsters, Luo Feng's spiritual force discovered after a single scan. There aren't many of them, but most of them are quite powerful. Luo Feng didn't think this was weird at all. Back then, Luo Feng saw from the screen at the Chinese base that the lake had an average depth of 300 meters, and its deepest part was 1,000 meters. However, these diagrams only pointed out the main parts. In reality, there are still quite a few tunnels connecting the lake to the underground area. For example, the Grand Emperor from before managed to charge up to the lake from a distance of 3,500 meters underground. Sometimes it would go to the lake and sometimes it would return underground. Because of the Grand Emperor's movements, tunnel after tunnel was formed. At that time, the display showed that it discovered an area formed by many tunnels, and quite a few sea monsters were there. So Luo Feng wasn't surprised at all right now. The smell is coming from there. Luo Feng swiftly flew up. Whoosh! As if teleportation, Luo Feng appeared 50 meters away, 3 meters above the wide underground river. He stepped on the surface of the river and looked in front of him. Above the dark river was a white transparent crystal that hovered in midair. Because of it, the originally dark river had a tiny bit of weak light. This white transparent crystal was also emanating the scent of rice, which caused one to feel like drooling. However, large amounts of sea monsters in the underground river were all staring at this white crystal, and one of them even instantly leaped up to swallow it. Right when Luo Feng saw the white crystal, it was swallowed by a sea monster in basically a blink of an eye. Not right. Luo Feng ignored his grief as he watched the scene in front of him with confusion. How come the other sea monsters didn't leap up to fight over it? Quite a few of these monsters are horde leader level monsters with intelligence comparable to humans. They aren't dumb, so there must be some reason. Chi-Chi, the entire body of the crustacean-type sea monster that leaped up and swallowed the white crystal started shining in the river. Its entire body seemed to be expanding. Roars and screams of pain rang. Pang! With a sound, the crustacean-type monster exploded. Pieces of its corpse and blood flew around everywhere, and the extremely alluring white crystal continued to hover above the lake in midair. A bunch of sea monsters surrounded this white crystal. Each of them wanted to eat it so badly. but none of them dared to swallow it. Luo Feng took in a breath after seeing this. That white crystal seemed extremely marvelous and its scent caused one to drool naturally. But who would have thought that it was poison? Death awaits after eating it. There are so many pieces of blown-up corpses in this lake, discovered Luo Feng with a scan with his spiritual force. Looks like quite a few monsters died because they swallowed this. And at this time, it's treasure of the Misty Island. Gasps in English arose, and two images flew over from different directions. Its mind. Luo Feng's eyes flashed, and with a thought, his spiritual force formed a gigantic formless hand which directly grabbed towards the crystal. Luo Feng didn't dare to use his real hand to grab this peculiar thing. Pang! A huge white hand as large as a sink appeared and also grabbed towards the crystal. It collided with Luo Feng's spiritual force and both of the hands disintegrated. Luo Feng, this is mine. M.O. Henderson's. Swiftly leave a roar in twisted Chinese rang. The third chairman, Ice Emperor M.O. Henderson? Luo Feng swiftly recalled this person's data. Ice Emperor M.O. Henderson is one of the 2-star Traveler Level 3 stage fighters on Earth. He was born in America and as of now, is the most powerful fighter the American government has. Because his ability to control ice has reached an extremely high level, people nicknamed him Ice Emperor. He's a super powerful fighter only below Hong and Thunder God. This belongs to the Dojo of Limits and you dare to steal it? Do you want to die? Roared Luo Feng as his soaring shuttle hovered beside him, ready to unleash his ultimate move any time.